Hello, this is Scary Scars Shared, in which real project managers share what they have learned from their most challenging project management experiences with me, Ken Burrell, from the PMO Professionals. If PMO is your thing, you might want to consider subscribing or following. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of new content. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Peter Macy. Peter, please could you start by introducing yourself and giving us a flavour of your background and how you got into project management?
Yeah, hi Ken. I'm a planning and reporting specialist these days. But my first foray into project management was after I'd been doing some development work out of university. I moved into consultancy space and pre-sales. Subsequent to that, I did some work on an integration at Lloyd's HBOS, and that's where I dropped into the planning space. Following that, I've worked predominantly in the financial services sector. More recently, I've been working in the insurance space, again, planning and reporting specialist.
So thinking back over your experience, can you give us an example of a scar? So something that went wrong on a project that you were managing and what you learned from it?
I've got plenty of scars, Ken. I always look at mistakes as opportunities to learn. One of my first mistakes out of university was a service improvement piece for one of the large financials. And we were just trying to get improvements on overnight batch processing. Everything had been running to plan. We'd made loads of changes. We were getting towards the end and we'd made this one change, which on the face of it was a really simple change. There was only one module that was impacted, and we'd done the analysis, and it had come back from offshore that it was only impacting one particular module. You take on board your experts' information. It had been peer reviewed by the guys on shore. We put the change live.
What was the first indication you got that something had gone wrong?
So I got a phone call at 1:30 in the morning that some files hadn't gone through the system that we ran. And I tried, and it got to sort of 2:30, 2:45 in the morning, and I gave up. And I decided I'll sort it out first thing in the morning. So I got in at 5:30 in the morning.
That is first thing in the morning.
That is first thing in the morning. I fixed the problem. I pushed the files through, and I thought it was strange that my project manager was in at sort of 6:00 in the morning, and she's working through stuff. And anyway, I'd finished doing what I needed to do. She said, "Oh, let's go and grab some breakfast." So we sat and had a chat. And unbeknown to me, my decision at 2:30, 2:45 in the morning had gone all the way up the food chain and was working its way all the way down the food chain. And given it was a quarter of the overnight check process, and it was a substantial amount of money for this organisation to have not processed overnight, it hadn't been one module, it had been 32 modules that got impacted by this one change.
Wow.
Was there a downstream impact to anything? No, they backed the change out. They decided not to proceed with the change after that. But my lesson learned from that was check and double check. And even if the experts do say it's right, my developer gut instinct would have told me that it wasn't just one module that was impacted, but I didn't listen to my inner developer. Yeah, one module being impacted, it seems a bit too easy.
Does that come under the heading of if things look too good to be true, they probably are?
Yeah, yes, it does. That was a really big lesson learned. More recently, I presented at a conference. I thought I had everything nailed. I thought I was confident, and I thought I had everything tied up, and I fluffed partway through, and then I panicked. And it's one of those where I just think you have to go with the flow and take whatever mistakes happen, turn something that you feel is a bit of a negative into a positive and learn from it. And actually, from talking to people afterwards, did it go how I expected it? No, it didn't. But actually, can I learn from it? Yeah, there's loads of stuff I can learn. I sat down afterwards and just put together my lessons learned on what I thought I should have done better and what could have gone better for me. So, yeah, that's just really, sort of a couple of examples there of, mistakes happening and problems which at the time I thought were, terrible. But ultimately, you've just got to take a step back and assess what's gone on and where you can move forward from.
Based on your experience, what advice would you give to other project managers who find themselves in a similar situation to the one that you faced, or to avoid getting into that kind of situation in the first place?
IT deliveries need to have people who have an understanding of not just the individual IT components, but how it all hangs together.
Yeah.
When I think of the large integration programs that I've worked on, there's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes those moving parts don't move at the same time. When you've got the bigger pieces of work, understanding the fuller architecture or how data is moving around, that's really when you need those key technical resources to support you in your delivery. You give your guys the air cover they need to fix problems. The flip side of that, from my perspective, is tell people that there's a problem and escalate it up. By escalating it up, Ken, I could have taken a lot of the pressure off, or bought myself a little bit of time to do stuff, but I made an arbitrary decision that probably cost a little bit of money. But that's a really big lesson to learn early on in your career. And now when I look at things, it's that talking and making sure that your guys are understanding that if they've got a concern about something, to call it out. You don't always get it right, but talking and buying that air cover for your people, for me, was a really big lesson learned earlier in my career. It's all about communication, Ken, both upwards and downwards. Keep your guys on side and up to speed and have an open channel that way. But also where there are problems. I think most stakeholders will articulate that they'd rather know there was a problem and that there's something being done to fix it than being caught out of the blue. Forewarned is forearmed.
People have to feel safe to speak up about issues like that. But if you can create the sort of environment where there's trust and respect, then people will speak up. Escalating early is always a good idea. Bad news never gets better with age, does it? And from a leadership perspective, I think it's always better to hear that bad news from the people below you than from the people above you.
If it looks like it's too good to be true, it probably is. But make sure you've got good people around you who understand either the process or the technical implementation to support you.
Thanks, Peter, for sharing those experiences with us. Having heard Peter's experiences, what can you learn from it? What will you do differently in your projects as a result? If you enjoyed this interview, give us a like or a comment, and you might want to consider following or subscribing. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of new content. If you'd like to receive free project management hints and tips, then sign up to our semi-regular newsletter. The links are somewhere around this video. I'm Ken Burrell from the PMO Professionals. If you'd like to share one of your scars with me, then get in touch. In the meantime, until the next time, thanks for listening.